sometimes finding support is going to be outside of your family.
Yeah.
It is going to be outside of the relationship that you're in, just because sometimes those responses aren't helpful, and that's when I tell people, if you don't have a close friend that you can share that with, maybe you do need to seek therapy. Maybe you do need to, we also do a lot of like grief and loss groups. It doesn't necessarily like, I have to connect with other women who've had a miscarriage specifically, because it's all connected to grief and loss or whatnot, and that may be the very thing that you need, because it's support. Anybody know, trying to work through something on your own is not as easy as if you were doing it with someone else.
Yeah. I'm happy that you mentioned that. And here's the other thing. So you said about talk to a friend that's outside your family or outside your partner. But I was talking to somebody and we were at a brunch. It was like a big group of us and we were just having a grand time talking. And so one thing in particular when it comes to counseling or therapy, some people actually believe I can just talk to my girlfriends about, you already laughing. I can just talk to my girlfriends about what's bothering me, what's going on. And then how is that different from seeking professional help?
In a variety of ways. Yes, our girlfriends are good. You know what I mean? I can say what I want to say. I mean, same thing in therapy. You can say what you want to say, but really when we're talking about therapy, it's not, I'm going to this person and she's going to give me all of it, or he is going to give me all of these answers. It's really help to shape your thinking patterns and rewire it in a way to where we talk you through whatever that destination is, right? So it's like you are processing, releasing, and coming to a conclusion on your own. Because when it's you are buying into something that you say, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And sometimes when we're in our friend circles, they're giving us the worst advice. Girl, let's go do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, they're validating our craziness, the toxic part of us. You know what I'm saying? That's just what we do.
Listen, but you ain't never lied, because I have had conversations with my girlfriends. I'm like, yeah, I'll come pick you up.
Listen,
we can go together.
Yeah, so, but you have to know the difference, because I feel like I do have people in my family who would not give me crazy, input. But sometimes we don't know our circles. Sometimes we tell, just because this is my friend. You gotta read your own room.
Right. No, straight up. Keep going. I got you.
Yeah, that piece is important, because I have some people where, I'm talking about my single mother stuff, my single mother woes. And I got this person where I'm talking about relationships, because this person can't handle that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you really have to know your circle of friends. And if you ain't got that, you just ain't got it. But one thing I like about therapy is I see a therapist. And grief and loss can be it's not just death. It's not just miscarriage. We can grieve loss of so many different things. But the fact that this person is bound by HIPAA, so I can literally go in there and say whatever it is I want to say. Obviously, not me, when I killed someone or hurt myself, but you know what I mean.
Sometimes I gotta tell no, I'm just playing. Sometimes with my therapist, I really like her. I haven't got to the point where I'm like, do I want to say this? So I'm happy that she makes that comfortable. But at the time I didn't have a therapist. Remember, I was just busy. I just started seeking professional help not too long ago. So
how did you initially handle it?
So I'm gonna tell you what happened. So on how the second one and then the last one, how I handled that, which was totally different. So the second one, I was just like, oh, okay, this is supposed to happen. I'm trying to, start my new career. This is what's supposed to happen. So I'm okay. It just wasn't meant to be. He's okay. Everything. And honestly, truthfully, I felt embarrassed by getting pregnant, and then I felt embarrassed by the miscarriage. And I'm gonna tell you how. Because I didn't even tell him I was pregnant the second time until he told me that he knew I was pregnant the second time. And I was like, ugh, yeah. So we had a whole different conversation. So I was embarrassed to even say something. And then when I finally said something, then that's when I found out I was having a miscarriage. So it's one of those things, because I was, like I said, I was really, really busy. Like, I was graduating from post-grad school. So not even grad school, I was graduating from post-grad school, applying for jobs, doing all the things, making sure my son was okay. So I just didn't feel like, I had time when I really felt like it was supposed to. So I didn't even grieve that for them. And so the last one, I took the worst. I took the hardest. The reason why I felt like I took the hardest is I couldn't understand, like, why does this keep happening to me?
Yeah.
Because not only could I not understand why this keeps happening to me, but, I felt like everything was settled. Like, I had my stuff together. Everybody was up to, like, I had room. Like, I just felt everything was settled. And I could not believe that God did this to me again. So I was, like, devastated.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really
level of disappointment.
I was sad. I was devastated, and it was just like the worst feeling ever. And I don't think I understood at the time why it happened. I understand now why it happened, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful for that. But at the time, I did not understand. And I just felt so overwhelmed with sadness. But I was like angry, because I was like, why is this happening? Like, why is my body doing the same thing? And I was like really going back, like, am I stressed out? Like, is it stress? Is it health? Like, I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And so that last one, it really hurt me the most, particularly because that I was almost to the 3 month. So I was longer as well.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's pretty far compared to the third miscarriage is when you found out about the fibroids and all of that. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, my doctor didn't even tell me.
That literally is a whole nother. I'm just not okay with that.
She didn't tell me. Like, literally, I was looking, and I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, there's the baby. I'm like, okay, there's the baby. And I'm like, what's that?
Well, it just make my eye switch.
This is why maternal health is, like, really important. This is why not only maternal health is really important, but I think when we talk about, like, mental health in itself, this is why it's important, because, like I said, I felt embarrassed, I felt ashamed, and I just felt like I wasn't good enough. All the things that work with your, that work against you in building your self-confidence and your self-esteem.
Yeah. So you used the word embarrassed. You felt embarrassed when you found out you was pregnant, so you didn't tell him you was pregnant.
I didn't tell him the second time I was pregnant. I didn't tell him the other time either, because I was embarrassed.
So what do you think the embarrassment?
He still don't know to this day?
No, he don't.
He knows.
Oh, man, you know.
He's clear. But where do you think the embarrassment stemmed from?
Oh, that's a great question. I was embarrassed because I was pregnant. I wasn't married. And I thought that it would be received better if I was married.
Okay. So not necessarily embarrassed with sharing it with him, but embarrassed with sharing it with in general because of everybody you would have to share it with?
No, I was embarrassed with sharing with him.
Okay.
Because I didn't feel like he really wanted kids. Because, like, okay, here's my thing. Guys will say whatever. So you saying yes, obviously. But I don't think, like, when the time came that he was prepared, it was actually yes. So I felt embarrassed, like I had messed up his life and what he was trying to do.
How did you mess up?
I did. I'm just being honest.
You the one that's part of the team, leave it in.
I love that statement. That's the best statement ever.
I'm just saying. How you
I was embarrassed.
He part of Team League.
I was so
That's on
embarrassed.
him.
No, when I say I was embarrassed because, okay.
Unless you took advantage of him, that's
No.
That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. That's the only time you should feel
definitely
that.
poking no holes. No. And you want to know something? Quick, brief commercial. Did you know you really can't do that? Like, you can try and they still don't get, but it was
Really?
No, for real. Like,
That's all wives tell, basically?
Huh?
That's all wives
That's
tell?
a wild tale.
Oh,
We
wow.
had health class. And they was like, you know, like when they literally have a condom put on your fist, it goes all the way down, you try to poke it and nothing gets through. Nothing gets through. Like, they bulletproof. They've been lying to us. But no, okay, so here's why I felt embarrassed, because I knew, and this is probably what we talked about earlier, I knew that he wasn't where he wanted to be financially. And I knew where he wanted to be with his career. So I knew that. And so I knew that he was trying to figure out his new career path. And then I ended up pregnant. So I felt embarrassed by that I should not have ended up pregnant. And I did. I felt embarrassed, and I felt like I had ruined his life. So that's why I was embarrassed, and that's why I didn't tell him right away. But he was just like, he had asked me, he was like, you ain't had your period in a while. And I was like, yeah. Good thing you know this. I'm for real, that's how the conversation went. And I was like, yeah, good thing you know this. And he was like, but you be hungry. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. And so, literally, you can see the wheels processing in his head as we're having this conversation. And he was like, so, is there anything you want to tell me? I'm like, no. And he was like, so, are you pregnant? And I was like, yes.
So you was just not going to tell him even when he asked you. Was there anything you said?
I did say I said no.
Send a t-shirt, Team League in.
I
Join
did
the
tell
club,
him.
join the team.
I said And then
Some of them join a lot more than others.
I did say that. I was like, And so he asked me, like, so you pregnant? And I was like, yeah. So he was like, so you just wasn't going to say nothing? I was like, I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know how to say it. And I really didn't. I did not know how to tell him. I really did not know how to say it. And I was waiting for, like, I wasn't even waiting for, like, no cute way. I was just, like, kind of waiting for the right time.
What would have been the ideal right time in your head?
I don't know.
You would have just been waiting until you were showing it, and you wouldn't have had no choice but to say,
You're right, I'm baby.
this is yours.
It looks like you. For real, that's how I'm for real. But I really felt, again, like I felt embarrassed. I felt that it was my fault. I felt like I could have done better. Like, I felt that I felt that I failed everything. So, yeah.
So you really just took on the emotional weight of that whole situation.
I did, actually.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot. And then carried it into another miscarriage.
Yeah.
So was it the same pattern when you found out about the pregnancy the third time? Did you not share it with him?
Yeah, I just said the third time I said the same thing.
Okay.
The third time, it was like, I think by the second time, he was like, okay, so you're not telling people nothing. So I think by the third time, he was like, she's not going to tell me. So I'm going to have to figure it out by looking at signs. And I think that's what happened. Because I was, like I said, I was embarrassed and I was too afraid to say anything. And then the other funny part is that my mother, she was calling me. And so she was like, how many times I call you always sleep? And I was like, signs. I was like, what you mean? I be tired at work. And so she was like, she had asked me, she was like, so where are you about to go? And I was like, I'm going to see the doctor. And so she was like, are you pregnant?
Oh, snap.
I was like,
podcast, we definitely discuss healing. We discuss aspects of psychology. We discuss, like, you becoming the best you, mental wellness,
For sure.
health.
Femininity, parenthood, dating,
Definitely
as
dating.
single parents. And it's from a lens of two psychologists,
Yeah.
So,
but also two people who grew up like with both parents, married parents, and then, like, you all know that Chloe and I are the youngest of our crews, like her siblings and my siblings. So it's from that perspective.
Yeah, looking at life through that lens.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get a whole lot of things from us. From us being women, going through life as parents, and all of these awesome attributes. But yes, womanology, the study of women.
The study of women.